last night behind you and get ahead. How easy is that to ride the sort of the emotional roller coaster that you guys are on?
I mean, it's way easier now when we have a game today already, so it's full focus on today.
You, a couple of the players we talked to last night said you guys really didn't find your game until the third period. Something that we've been maybe seeing a fair amount of this year. What's your sense of why, when the game starts, that your best game isn't there, ready to go?
I don't really know why, but I mean, the starts has been an issue for us. It's cost us games. So, I mean, when we were playing good and we were on our toes, we were usually starting good too. So that's, if we want to be a successful team, we have to get to that, and that's what we're looking for starting today.
Adam, this was a pretty big 7-game stretch that you guys were talking about after the road trip, but just maybe assess how maybe it's gone so far, and what are some of the things that you can take away that have been constructive for the club?
Well, we have the chance now to have a pretty good stretch if we close these two out before they break. And that's what we're looking for right now. Obviously, last night was not what we wanted, so it's going to be a hungry team today.
Is it easy to, back-to-backs and just trying to? Last night was so emotionally charged, and I apologize, I'm coming in late, but just to kind of come back tonight and kind of wipe away last night and move forward with tonight.
Yeah, that's always nice, especially after the performance last night. It's always nice to have. We don't even have to think about that one more than a couple of hours after until you go to bed. So it's nice to get back at it right away.
Thanks, Adam.
And trying to bounce back after what was a disappointing win, I guess back-to-backs help you do that, but how do you feel about getting right back at it?
That's good. I like that. After a loss, just get right back at it. So obviously not the way we wanted to go last night, but like you said, back at it tonight.
Is being able to shelve bad things and put good things into perspective helpful in a situation where you're playing a lot of games with a lot on the line for the rest of the year?
Yeah, I mean, you got to have a short memory in this league. You're playing every other night, back-to-backs, you name it. You got to be able to have a short memory and stay positive and focus on some of the good things and build off that. So we obviously weren't happy with their game last night, but.
Hitch said post-game, we asked about you bleeding a few times through the game. He said you gave as much as you got last night. Do you feel like, from a physical standpoint, that he said you don't need help out there, you can handle yourself? Others might suggest that when something like that happens to the captain, there needs to be sort of this response. Where do you come out on when these things happen to you and the way your teammates respond?
Yeah, obviously it's a physical game. These things happen, and it's more important that we're focusing on playing hockey. It doesn't need to turn into that type of game, especially against those guys where that's kind of how it's turned. When we play those guys a couple times, it's been a parade of the penalty box, and we never need that against those guys. They have a good power play, and we wanted to keep it 5-on-5 as much as we could. So
It's long been your policy to not talk about the referees. Why do you go down that road?
I'm not going to talk about the referees, just because it's they're human, and they're going to call what they see, and that's all there is to it.
You guys have a sentence you done on that?
One more. Might it serve a purpose to just every once in a while just say, like Mario did it, he called it a garage league and said, this is enough. Like, is there a breaking point, or is this going to be?
There's times on the ice where it'd be appropriate to go up and just talk about a certain play and maybe see what he saw and share what maybe you think. And some refs are willing to listen to that, some refs aren't, and it's good to have that conversation, but it doesn't need to be done in the media.
Privately is probably better.
Yeah, it never needs to be done in the media.
You guys feel fortunate just in terms of the record's been up and down, yet here you are still within striking distance, and there's this opportunity to grab this thing if you can.
I'm sure there's a lot of teams that are probably feeling that way, and we're definitely one of them. We went through a tough stretch there, and weren't able to get many points, and we still find ourselves 1 or 2 points out. I'm not sure what it is today, but there's a bunch of teams within that striking distance, so someone's got to get on a roll here, and better be us.
Does your just all the kind of the time you spend on being fit help when you play a game last night, as physical as it is, as emotional as it is, and then just try and turn around and recover and get back at it tonight?
Well, you play back-to-backs and whatnot all the way up. In junior, you play 3-3, so it's nothing new.
Good.
All right. Thanks, Connor.
And you went into this situation in Anaheim as well and had a great game. What's the mindset of a goaltender knowing that maybe the energy level of the team might be a little not as full, the tank might not be as full because they just played last night?
It was a big emotional game last night, so I think as a goaltender coming into a back-to-back, try to control the game really, not give up too many rebounds, put pucks where they can't get to the second chances, and just try to manage the game the best I can until we can get our legs under us.
What do you sense out of Connor? A night like last night where he's wiping blood a few different times. Some people feel like, somebody's got to go do something about it. He seems pretty focused on not worrying about it in 2 points. Hitch said he gives just as much as he gets. He sense from Connor just battle level and that stuff.
His battle level's second to none. He's bloodied. He's, face pushed into the ground, gets right back up, and still tries to make plays out there. He's not one that's going to shy away from that kind of stuff. Like you said, he's kind of, wrestle a little bit, gave it back, and but at the same time, he's just going to go fight for that puck and do what he can to help us win games. So that's the kind of leader he is, and he's never going to be the one to complain. The 2 points is the biggest thing for him.
Cam, after the road trip that started the year, a lot of the players mentioned that this was an important 7-game stretch with 6 of them being at home. Points are still there for the taking for the final 2. What's the feeling in the group right now heading in before the All-Star break?
If we can come out of the next 2 games with 4 points, then that's the biggest thing. If we can go, 5-2 during the stretch, that's a pretty nice way to head into the break and feel good about ourselves. So we got a tough opponent tonight, which is going to be a battle after last night. So we're focused on tonight, but obviously if we can come up with 4 points going into the break, that'd be huge.
You guys, when you're on this stretch where you win one, lose one, win a couple, the fans go on this wild emotional roller coaster. How do you guys prevent yourself from doing that same thing?
You try not to get too high, try not to get too low, and I think that at some point we're going to have to make a run here, and it starts with this little stretch. Like I said, if we can go 5-2 during the 7-game stretch, then we're looking pretty good coming out of the break, and it gives us a little bit of momentum. So we're just focused on that right now.
Thanks, Cam.
Yep. Thanks, Cam.
just get right back on the horse the next night. Is there some benefit in that, even though maybe the legs are a little heavy?
There definitely is a benefit in it. You don't really get to dwell on it too much. I mean, you just have to get prepared for the next game for sure. So it's we can forget about that one last night. Some good things, some bad things, but overall didn't get the 2 points. So we just got to move on to tonight.
You're no stranger to lots of attention, roughing, all the things that come with being a talented player. Last night, Connor got reasonable amount of attention. Just what do you see in him when it comes to battling back, fighting through that kind of stuff, whether he's bloodied or stitched or whatever he's going through?
Well, I mean, the way that he battles through it is great. I mean, he doesn't let them get in his head either. I think that's a big thing. He just keeps playing his game. I mean, when you're a player like Connor, you're going to draw a lot of attention to yourself, obviously. So he fights through it a lot, and also does push back when he needs to.
Do you guys even get a little frustrated watching some of the stuff that happens and is allowed to happen?
It can be frustrating for sure. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
That's good. All right.
question about the Carolina Hurricanes. What have you seen from them? What do you expect them to bring tonight?
Well, as I told the players, it's a mirror image of Calgary. It's, you know, a coach that's not that far removed from the team, and that team plays the same way. They put high pressure on you. They pinch their defensemen. They activate their defensemen. They got great mobility on the back end, and they use it. I think the one difference offensively is that Carolina promotes that their defensemen go in and stay in. So you're defending more numbers than you have normally. So you're always looking at 4 players inside the top of the circles and not 3. So to me, they just try to make you make errors in your own end of the rink or on your side of the red line and force you on your heels. And when they're on top of their game, and that's why their shot totals are so high, their shots for totals are so high, because they full court press you and they put a lot of pressure on you.
You still go with the same lineup you had last night, Ken, or you making any tweaks?
We haven't really made our mind up. We've got a couple guys that are going to work through the day injury-wise, so you're going to see 23 in the warm-up, and then we'll evaluate it from there. But we'll get a full lineup of as many guys as we can put on the ice, and then see how a couple, 3 guys feel. As of last night, we were going to make changes based on injuries, and then they came back today and they felt a lot better, so we'll see.
When you looked at Connor today, if you saw him, what you kind of thought of just his face sort of telling the story of what kind of a night it was, you know, for him when it comes to the attention that he's always got and kind of continues to get?
I loved his game. I loved the way he played. I loved the way he competed. He gave it back to people. He gave it to people. He got it. He fought through things. I really liked the way he played. And, you know, he whacked that guy that whacked him, and he whacked him hard, and then he got it, and he just played right through everything. I liked the fact that he played through a lot of tough stuff, and you know, we got our licks in. It's a different player, their top player, but we got our licks in there too, and he fought also. So both players knew what was at stake, and they both fought hard. But I really liked what Connor tried to drag out of our hockey club yesterday. It was very impressive.
He chooses to deal with the refs in person on the ice and to have his conversations there, not be someone that'll stand in front of us and do a lot of complaining. In your experience, is that, you know, a smart way for a star player to go versus being more vocal, like, you know, Mario might have done way back in the day?
Yeah, I think each guy's, you know, like sometimes I don't think it's being vocal. I think if we feel there's an injustice, it's on us to point it out. I think some players work the game a little bit differently. Some guys are going to the ref and pointing out things. We had both officials talk to us yesterday and say they missed a call on them, and that was good on them. It was very professional. But at the end of the day, it's, as a good player, you got to fight through stuff, and then also it's on us to make sure that he's protected, and that if we feel there's an absolute attempt to injure, then we have to take matters into our own hands. We can't expect the league to cover that part. That's on his teammates, and that's on the coaching staff, and we do that. And there's a mechanism, a trigger mechanism that's in place to recognize that. But hard play is hard play, and it was hard play yesterday on both sides, on top players, and quite frankly, both top players answered the bell.
Ken, I wanted to ask you about Kyle Brodziak, and I thought he had one of his more effective games last night. Just what have you seen out of him? What do you like him, and does it need to improve on a little bit?
I thought yesterday he skated well, and I think when he doesn't think and just plays, he's a good player. So when he's got his tempo up and he's just competing, he's very effective. I think when he gets thinking, there's a lot of hesitation and there's a lot of non-skating in his game. And he recognizes that. We talked about it a couple of days ago about getting back to what he was, and when he's tenacious, he can play through people and he can score, and he's obviously very effective as a penalty-killing guy. But to me, he skated well yesterday. He was hard on pucks. He was a little bit reckless, and that's his game. And when he plays like that, he can actually play in the 3-hole, not just the 4-hole.
Ken, can you speak to the growing pains of Caleb Jones on defense?
Yeah. it's like anything else when you're teaching younger players. No matter what you tell them, no matter what you talk about, they got to go through the walls. And he's learning hard lessons on changes, which he got caught on yesterday, on turnovers, which happened in the game, and the emotion of a high-stakes hockey game like last night was, and he's learning those lessons, and he's having to go through those walls, and no matter how much we talk about him, he's going to have to gain that experience by doing that stuff, and he's going to be a better player because of it, but it's also on us. The easy thing with younger players like that would be to sit them out and not play them, and we prefer to go the other way. We're gonna hammer through the same way we did with Jesse. We knew he was really down on energy, and we had to fight through to help him. And he rebounded nicely yesterday, and hopefully he can continue to grow, and we're going to do the same thing with Caleb. We see the end game with these good players, and we want to try to help them get there.
You talked about the fans in Edmonton going sort of from one extreme to the other with the, the win one, lose one, the stakes being as high as they are. Are the guys in the room riding that same wave, or is it?
No, I don't think so. I think, like it's the same 2 points. Like last night was 2 points, and we missed on it, and so tonight's just as important. It's another 2 points. We're 3-2 at home, and we got a chance to have a winning record if we do well in the next 2 games, and we want to have that leading into the break. So we got our work cut out. We got 2 really fast teams coming at us now, but they have weaknesses just like we do, and we got to try to exploit those weaknesses. But it's 2 points. It's those 2 points that matter, and if we got to get them tonight, we got to get them tonight. But we had to rebound today. Last night was very emotional, and to mount the comeback we did and to be pushing forward and to give it back as quick as we did, it was disappointing. But I thought the guys were good today.
Thanks.